Remember his father. त्रिपुर का दाह करने पर जैसे असुरों का स्वयं दाह हो गया, उस तरह देह इंद्रिय आदि का त्याग करने पर चित्त का स्वयं त्याग हो जाएगा। इस पर कहते हैं देह आदि जो कुछ ये प्रसिद्ध पदार्थ हैं वे तो चित्त नहीं कहे जा सकते हैं, और उनमें चित्त कहाँ रहता है इसका भी निरूपण नहीं हो सकता। इसीलिए विचारे अपराध शून्य देह आदि का मैं व्यर्थ क्यों त्याग करूं। Kachav was searching for the chitta. Where is chitta? What is chitta? He thought, just as the Lord Shiva burnt up all the three worlds to destroy all the demons ruled by the Tripurasur, to kill the Tripurasur, Lord Shiva destroyed all the three worlds. That means all the demons staying in three worlds. So this is how I have to renounce everything, so everything will be renounced. But how to do it? Who is going to destroy what? So all these complications he was unable to solve. He was thinking, this chitta, this subconscious mind, is not this body, nor these senses, nor mind, etc. Why should I renounce all these identities who have nothing to do? इस परिस्थिति में अब चित्त स्वरूप महाशत्रु को जानने के लिए पिताजी के पास ही जाता हूँ. So now to have clarity, to find out chitta, I have to go to my father again. Kachav was thinking in this way. जानकर मैं उसका त्याग करूँगा. Having knowing where is चित्त, I shall renounce it. तदनंतर जल्द ही समस्त शोकों से निर्मुक्त हो जाऊँगा. So after that, after renouncing this subconscious mind, I shall be free of all the problems, all the disappointments, and I will be established in the eternal peace. वशिष्ठ जी ने कहा, हे रघुवर, ऐसा विचार कर वह कच्छ स्वर्ग में चला गया तथा बृहस्पति के पास जाकर स्नेहपूर्वक वंदना और प्रणाम किया. Thinking thus, Vasistha says, O Ram, Kacha went to his father and saluted him and worshipped his legs. एकांत में उसने उनसे पूछा, है भगवान, चित्त क्या है? इसका आप मुझे उपदेश दीजिए और चित्त का स्वरूप भी बतलाइए, जिससे कि मैं उसका त्याग करूं. He politely asked his father in loneliness, because all these questions are not discussed in many people, because everybody is not interested in it. So it is useless to discuss among everyone. All these secrets should be discussed secretly. So he asked his father, where is Chitta, how it is, how to find it, please tell me, so that I shall renounce it. बृहस्पति जी ने कहा, आयुष्मान चित्त तत्वज्ञ महानुभाव अपने अहंकार को ही चित्त जानते हैं, अतः जंतु का जो यह भीतरी अहम भाव है वही चित्त कहलाता है. सो Vasistha ji, our Brihaspati ji told in shortcut, the great knower of subconscious mind, they know this ego is nothing but subconscious mind. Ego stands for the subconscious mind. So if you can renounce this ego, I-ness, then it will be renounced. Kacha asked. Hearing this, Kacha is asking again. कच ने कहा, हे 33 करोड़ देवताओं के गुरु, हे महामते, अहम भाव ही चित्त रूप कैसे हो सकता है, उसे मुझसे कहिए, क्योंकि लोक में अहंकार को आत्मा के रूप में प्रसिद्ध है. यदि इसका त्याग कर देंगे तो शून्यता ही हो जाएगी. सो कच्छ is asking again, O great one, O the Guru of 33 crores of gods, 33 crores. These gods are natural, centrified, personified different aspects, subtle aspects of the nature, and the head of the aspect is a god, who controls this aspect of the nature, subtle aspects, just as water, air, fire, and all these climate, or this distribution of water, storage of water, and wealth also, storage of wealth, distribution of wealth, transaction of wealth, many things. So different aspects ruled by different subtle controller of the nature. They are called gods, personified central head of these subtle aspects, which controls the whole nature, natural process. So 33 crores of gods, and you are the preceptor of all these. You are the guru of all these. So please tell me, people know this ego to be the self. Ego is the self. How it can be the subconscious mind? यदि उसका त्याग कर देंगे, if the ego is renounced, so everything will be renounced. So remnants will be the emptiness, void, or we can call it nothing. Remnants will be nothing, some void or emptiness. How it can be? और आत्मा का त्याग भी नहीं हो सकता है. And the self cannot be renounced, क्योंकि वह त्याग का विषय ही है ही नहीं, because it is not the object of renunciation. हे योगियों में श्रेष्ठ, मैं तो मानता हूँ कि इसका त्याग इतना असंभव सा है कि किसी तरह सिद्ध हो ही नहीं सकता है, इसीलिए उसका त्याग कैसे होगा। ओ ग्रेट वन, आई थिंक इट इज इम्पॉसिबल टू गिव अप ईगो। हाउ कैन आई रिनाउंस इट? बृहस्पति ने कहा, सत्य है, जब तक उसके साक्षी का परिचय नहीं हो जाता है तब तक उसका परित्याग करना असंभव है, परंतु जब साक्षी का परिचय हो जाता है तब उसका त्याग कर सकते हैं। इस आशय से कहते हैं, बृहस्पति ने कहा है, हे पुत्र, अहंकार रूप चित्त का त्याग तो फूलों के मर्दन से भी और नेत्रों के मिलन से भी अत्यंत सुलभ है, अतः इसके त्याग में तनिक भी क्लेश नहीं है। सो बृहस्पति आंसर्स, माय डियर child, it is so easy and so possible, just like you muscle a flower, how easy it is. If you can understand who is the witness of the ego, then it becomes so easy and so possible. Who is the witness of the subconscious mind or ego? Then only it will be easier for you. हे तनय, इसका त्याग जिस उपाय से सुलभ होता है उस उपाय को मैं कहता हूँ, तुम सुनो। जो वस्तु केवल अज्ञान से ही उत्पन्न होती है उसका ज्ञान से भी नाश हो जाता है। यह अहंकार शुद्ध साक्षी के अपरिचय रूप मोह से उत्पन्न हुआ है, अतः साक्षी का परिचय हो जाने पर नष्ट हो जाएगा। सो बृहस्पति इज गिविंग द क्लू। माय डियर बॉय, दिस ईगो और द सबकॉन्शियस माइंड, it is the shadow of, or the reflection of, or the misunderstanding of the witness, one who witnesses it. This is the shadow or reflection or misunderstanding. Due to misunderstanding, we take the reflection as the object. Object is not visible, we see the reflection only. So, we think the reflection is the object, that is misunderstanding, or the shadow becomes the reality, or the reflection or the shadow or misunderstanding. This is how, which is not the witness, we take it as the witness. Just as we don't see the outside objects, but we see the reflection in the prism, crystal, everything, and we say the crystal is colorful, but it is not so. That is to be found out. Because of ignorance only, it appears to be. When the ignorance is understood, that understanding of ignorance is done of knowledge. So, when the ignorance is there, you have to bring the knowledge to destroy the ignorance. Just as the dawn of light destroys the darkness, so also the understanding or the knowledge destroys the ignorance. So you have to find out the witness of it. हे पुत्र, जैसे मिथ्या भ्रम कुछ वस्तु नहीं है, वैसे ही अहंकार भी वास्तव में कुछ है ही नहीं. My dear son, just as the ignorance, the falsehood is not an object, absence is not an object, presence is the object. So, this ego also is not in reality something. अज्ञानियों की दृष्टि से यह उस प्रकार असत होता हुआ उत्पन्न होता है जिस प्रकार बालक की दृष्टि से असत बेताल उत्पन्न होता है. The ignorant fellows, they create this object out of misunderstanding. How? Just as the ignorant child creates the form of the ghost mentally before him when he hears anything about the ghost. He creates the form mentally, which is not there. So also, this ego is not there at all to be found out or to be renounced. It is just a absence or ignorance. So it is created as something by the ignorant persons. Just as we always discuss the absence of boy can lead you to anywhere and everywhere. That assumption leads you there to find out where the boy is not there. He is absent in the class means he is not sure to be found in the playground. But because we don't understand where is he, because the presence is not known, so to search the absent we go many a place and search for the presence, but we don't get it. And unless and until the presence of the boy is found out, till then we have to go in vain in search of the boy. It is useless, and that is called ignorance. Ignorant persons only search the presence where it is not there, in absence only. जैसे डोरी में अज्ञान से सीप मिथ्या भासता है, सांप मिथ्या भासता है, सीप नहीं सांप. जैसे डोरी में रस्सी में अज्ञान से सांप मिथ्या भासता है, अथवा जैसे शुष्क मरुभूमि में अज्ञान से मिथ्या पानी का ज्ञान होता है, वैसे ही अज्ञान से अहंकार भी मिथ्या ही भासता है. जस्ट एज द स्नेक इज visible on the rope out of ignorance only. When you don't understand that is rope, you don't see the rope because of darkness or invisibility. You think of the snake some similarity is there, some zigzag, some presence, something is present, but that is not the snake. Because you don't know the reality, so you imagine anything over the unseen reality. Similarly, in the deserts also we see the water in mirage when it is not there. It is because of only ignorance. Ignorance can create anything and everything. That is the creative power. That is called the Maya, the energy which is ever changing. So the clarity is not there. That is the cause of the ignorance. So anything can be imagined or anything can be assumed. But the truth is there. Truth is invisible. It is hidden by this ignorance. Because we don't know the reality of the rope, we imagine the snake over the rope. That is assumption or superimposition. जैसे चंद्रमा एक ही है, परंतु उसमें मोह से असत्य द्वित्व दिखाई देता है. Just as the moon is one, everybody knows, but because of faulty eyes, we see two moons. If you press the eye bulb, anything appears as a 2, 3, many. One becomes many because of faulty eyes. And I gave the example of that buffalo who was not eating the white and dry husk. When its eyes were covered with green wallpaper, then it thinks the white dry husk as the green fodder. This is the mistake of the eyes. चंद्रमा एक ही है, परंतु उसमें मोह से असत्य द्वित्व दिखाई देता है. वैसे ही यह अहंकार मोह से ही दिखाई देता है. Just as that this ego appears as something. यह न तो सत्य है, न असत्य ही है, और न सत्यासत्य ही है. This ego is neither truth nor untruth, because some assumption, it cannot be said to be untruth. Something is visible, that is neither true nor untrue, nor it is both, nor it is not the both. All the four aspects are condemned here. Neither it is reality nor unreality, because something is visible. Neither it is reality nor it is unreality, nor it is both, nor it is not the both. So it is unexpressible, anirvachaniya, unexpressible in the words. सब प्रपंच यदि मिथ्या है तो कौन सी चीज सत्य है भाई? If all this visibility is false, then what is the reality? Whatever we see, all these names and forms, if all these are unreality, then what is called reality? सब प्रपंच आज मिथ्या है तो कौन सी चीज सत्य होगा? एक आदि और अंत से रहित चैतन्य मात्र सभी ओर से निर्मल आकाश से भी अत्यंत स्वच्छ सर्वानुभव रूप आत्मा ही सत्य वस्तु है. So the answer is the ultimate one, which is devoid of beginning and less, all present, ever present, the one self, which is awareness only, which is purer than the purest sky, and which is experienced by everyone. That experienced awareness is the reality. यदि उसकी सत्ता न मानी जाए तो जगत का प्रकाश ही नहीं हो सकेगा, अतः उसका अस्तित्व है. If you don't accept that, no, that is unseen, unknown, how it can be the reality? Then all these worlds, whatever you see, whatever you visualize, that will not remain as it is, because it will become untrue, because that truth is there. That's how it is visible. In other words, we can say, if the object is invisible, object is not there, how can there be any shadow or reflection? You are seeing the reflection and you are telling that this is the truth, because the object is invisible. I cannot accept the presence of the object. I don't see it. That's how the God is invisible. It is not perceivable by the senses, eyes or anything. So it is not visible to the senses. How can I believe it? So if you don't believe the reality, the object, then how can you believe the shadows of it? The moment you know it is, understand, and if you firmly convinced that these shadows are shadows only, names and forms, they are only reflections, then only you will search for the object. That is called knowledge. And when these reflections are vanished, then the truth is remnants of it. Truth reveals itself. There is no self-effort needed to reveal the truth. It reveals by itself, just as when the blanket is thrown out, the boy who sleeps under the blanket, he is known, or else it is covered by the blanket. How can you know who is there? That's how, when the covering is not thrown out, how can you know what is there in? When the envelope is not torn out, how can you know what letter is there inside the envelope? What is the reality? So the covering should be removed. All these coverings are known as the names and forms or the shadow of the object which covers it. You have to accept the presence of the reality over which this unreality is covering it. यदि उसकी सत्ता न मानी जाए तो जगत का प्रकाश ही नहीं हो सकेगा. If you don't accept that presence, then this world cannot be visible. सभी जगह और सभी प्राणियों में निरंतर सब ओर से प्रकाश करने वाला वही एक आत्मा वस्तु उस प्रकार चमकता है जिस प्रकार चंचल समुद्र की तरंगों में जल ही जल चमकता है. That only one substratum, the holder of everything, the cause for everything, which is holding all these worlds, it reveals all these as shadow. If the object is not there, where from you will get the shadow? Shadow means it indicates there is something as object. In a very strong focused torchlight, if it is put on your eyes, you see, your eyes are dazzled. You cannot see the torch. Does it mean there is no torch? Because I see the light only, but where from the light is coming? Unless that torch is found out, how can you say that light is true? Which is the sender of the light or creator of the light? The torch is invisible because of its dazzling power. Similarly, the truth is invisible because of all these we see, visualize, all these covering. Unless and until you turn out this envelope, how can you see what is inside? So they have said, when the names and forms are thrown out, then the reality within it, which is existence, it does exist. And you are aware of that existence of the real letter within it. Everybody knows there is something within it. So that awareness also is the truth, and that existence within is the truth, and you are satisfied with that awareness that there is something within. That's how the existence absolute, which is known to everyone, which is awareness, and that satisfaction of the awareness of the existence which everybody experiences, that is the truth, which is unseen but experienced. Everybody knows there is something within, but nobody knows what it is because it is invisible. That awareness, that experience of something is there, that is called truth. Then only you find out, try to find out what is there in. When you remove the cover, then only it is visible to you. Unseen becomes seen. Without removing the covering, how can you see what is therein? This is what The great preceptor explained to Kacha. सभी जगह और सभी प्राणियों में निरंतर सब ओर से प्रकाश करने वाला वही एक आत्म वस्तु उस प्रकार चमकता है जिस प्रकार चंचल समुद्र की तरंगों में जल ही जल चमकता रहता है. He gives another example also. Just as the water is dazzling in the waves only, you see the wave, but you don't see the water. What is there in a wave? When you choose the name and form, you forget the substance within it. That is water. I always give a very funny example. Once I was walking in the road in hot summer days. Somebody came running from behind. He was going somewhere and he asked me, Swamiji, Swamiji, I am very thirsty. Can you give me little water somewhere from? I said, yes, my dear, the Ganga is flowing down. Don't you see? Go and drink some water. No, it is Ganga, it is not water. I said, go. That Ganga is water and drink some water there. He goes and stands near the Ganga and says, Swamiji, it is Ganga, it is a flow, it is not water. How to find water? When I said that flow is Ganga, water, take something in your hands. So he takes some water in his hands and says, Swamiji, where is water? It is handful. I drink that. No, it is some bubbles and some little waves I see in the hand. It is called handful, Anjali. When you do Anjali, it is not water. I said, put it in. When he obeyed my order, then he understood, yes, it now I am not, no more I am thirsty. I said, that was water. Oh, I see. Similarly, there is a saying, Pani mein meen piyasi. The fish is thirsty inside the water. It says, where is water? I am very thirsty. It lives inside the water. पानी में मीना प्यासी रे मैं सुन आई मुझे सुन आई हंसी रे. I laughed at this saying, the fish is thirsty inside the water. A boy standing in the flood water is asking, I am thirsty. What to do? Are drink that. Now this is flood, it is not water. How can I drink the flood? This is how the names are to be rejected. Then only the reality is understood. Names are the forms, just as the waves are the forms of the water itself. The water has been formed as wave and it is named as wave. So if you see it is not, if you say it is no water, it is wave only, it is name only, it is not water, then who will make you understand? How can you appease your thirst? So this is how you have to understand the truth, which is invisible, but it is unexpressible, yet it is experienced by everyone. दृष्टा और दृश्य के बीच में यह कौन सी अहंकार नाम की वस्तु है, किस हेतु से उत्पन्न हुई और उसका स्वरूप क्या है? कोई कह सकता है क्या? This is the great question. Be aware of the question. Hari Om. The question. Where is the difference between the seer and seen object? How can there be any ego stands in between? Where from it comes? Can you say what is ego in between? The seer is somebody, the seen is some object. How can this ego comes in between? How can it come in between telling I am the seer? The seer is somebody else, and seen objects are something else. And ego comes in between. Yes, I am. What is that ego? Where from it comes? Can you say anything about it? कोई भी नहीं कह सकता है. Nobody can say. क्या कहीं जाल में शुष्क धूलि राशि या अग्नि से उत्पन्न जल की भी किसी ने देखा है? अर्थात किसी ने भी नहीं देखा. Can you see any dust particles in the clear water? Has anybody seen it? Or have you seen the fire inside the water? Of course you may say, yes, yes, I have seen the lightning in the clouds. That is different. Lightning comes when there is a cross of two clouds. That is different, but in ordinary water, the examples are taken as partial examples. Nobody has seen the fire in the water. Similarly, water is the object you see and the seer. So, in between can the fire come? No possibility. You see the water means water is there. You saw something and you thought the snake has come in between and it has become a snake, but it is not the snake. When the reality is seen, it is only the rope. How can the snake come in between? Similarly, this ego cannot come in between. It is just assumption or it is imagination. The seer is somebody else. The seen is something else. When I see my hand within my body, the body sees the hand. How can the ghost come in between? Some other seer comes in between. Similarly, the seer and seen are the one, and there is nobody in between. So the world which is seen and the seer, they are one only. There is nothing in between as names and forms. Nothing is there. The seer and seen are one. I see my body and I tell it my hand. This is the ignorance. Hand is not other than the body. I see my body only and I name it as hand. Where from this name came? Pardon?
That's a good question.
That is the question. I see my body and I say it is my stomach. Where from this name comes? So we have to understand these names and forms are the dividers, and it is not there, it is false. Hand is a name, but in reality it is not other than the body. That is to be understood. So this visible world is invisible truth. There is no names and forms in between. The visible world is invisible truth. There is no names and forms in between. Give it up, then the reality reveals itself. हे पुत्र, यह पिता आदि से उत्पन्न हुआ देह आदि मैं हूँ। इस व्यर्थ बुद्धि को, जो कि तुच्छ, परिमिताकार और देश काल के द्वारा हुए वृद्धि आदि विकारों से परिणत हुई है, छोड़ दो। So now, Brihaspati, the Guru, explains to Kacha, my dear son, this body which is produced by the father or mother, all these are hallucination. There is no body, there is no father, and this body is developed by I am the body, and it has been developed by some changes, some vikar means some modifications, some changes, and now it appears to be something, and it has been limited by some demarcating lines, and it is limited by time and space, and it is growing with these modificatory process or transformating process. This you have to give up. This, the modificatory process or transformative process, or the growth, or the limiting form, which is limited by the time and space, and which is not at all there. You have to give up this. Not the body, but the idea of the body which is seen in this way. There is no body. तब मैं कौन हूँ? Then who am I? If I am not the body, I am not these transformations or modifications or growth or form. Who am I then? तब मैं कौन हूँ? देश काल आदि परिच्छेदों से शून्य. You are not these dividing factors, time and space. Swachh, you are the purest. Nirantar, you are the continuity. Udaya Swabhav, always present. व्यापक, ऑल परवेडिंग, सब पदार्थों के रूप में. यू आर ऑल दीज ऑब्जेक्ट्स. यू आर बीइंग visible in the form only, but you are not these forms, limiting forms, but nirmal, but you are the purest without any formation. Advaya, one without a second. Chinmatra Swarup tum ho. You are the awareness absolute, which is aware of all these modifications, which is experienced by everyone, which is all pervading and ever present. सर्वार्थमयम, इस शब्द का सब पदार्थों का सारभूत भी अर्थ है. All these meanings, Shankaracharya ji Maharaj, the great Guru, he said, Artham anartham bhavaya nityam. At the time of contemplation, you have to contemplate on the meaning and usefulness, the value of the object, how it is valued, how it is something, and what is the meaning of it, what is the value of it, how it changes then. If it is really valued as something, it is meaning of something. How can the meaning changes? How can the form change? How can the value change? So it is anartham, it is not the meaning, so it is not the value. Relatively we value something as something, or we give the name and the relationship, usefulness, and then we value it, we mean it. So all these change because of relativity, because of changes only. For a moment we accept it, then it is not so. So this cannot be relied upon. The reality never can change. The reality never can be invisible. जैसे चारों दिशाओं में स्थित फल, पुष्प और पत्तों का हेतुभूत एवं सारभूत वृक्षों से रहने वाला रस है, वैसे ही तुम समस्त जगत का सार कारणभूत और सारभूत भीतर रहने वाला सर्वदा ही स्थित अत्यंत विमल अनंत नित्य चिद स्वरूप चिदात्म स्वरूप ही हो. Just as wherever you see, the tree is not tree, tree is not foliage, tree is not the branches or sub-branches, but tree really means the sap inside it, which gives the growth to all these and develops all these. The sap inside it. So also we can say The body is not body, but it is food. Body is not food, but it is blood. Body is not blood, but it is the flesh and bone. Body is not bone, but inside it that essence of the bone is called body, which is present all over the body. Body is not this. Body is really the presence which is formed with some limitations, which is ever changing. So why don't you think in this way? वैसे ही तुम समस्त जगत का कारणभूत. This is how you are the cause for the whole universe. You are the absolute purity. You are infinite and continuous, ever existing, the self of all selves, existence absolute. हे कच्छ, अखंड अद्वैय सन्मात्र स्वरूप बने हुए तुम्हारी यह परिचिन्न अहम बुद्धि कौन सी चीज है, अर्थात कोई नहीं. ओ कच्छ, what is that your ego with all these formations or limitations or your dividers? It divides everything, changes everyone, every moment. What is that ego which is ever changing and which is ever limited? What is that? That cannot be anything. You are the absolute truth. When you give up this idea of limitations and transformations or growth, then only you will understand the ego is vanishes, ego is not seen now, and you will understand you are the absolute truth, nothing else. Thus ended the 111th chapter. His father, Kachcha's father, Guru Brihaspati, explained in this way to him in detail with examples and analysis. In the next chapter, 112th, we shall see कच्छ की आख्यायिका से प्रबुद्ध हुए राम जी के प्रश्न से वशिष्ठ जी द्वारा आकाश की रक्षा करने वाले मिथ्या पुरुष का आख्यान कथन. In this chapter, we shall see another story. Of course, Kachcha story is a very short story, just to support the story of Sikhidhwaj and Chudala, and to support the Kachcha story, he is going to give another exemplary story by which Rama was enlightened and he experiences the presence of the absolute. He gets established in it. वशिष्ठ उवाच, महाराज वशिष्ठ जी ने कहा है श्री राम जी, उस देवगुरु से अपनी आत्मा को परमात्मा के साथ एक रूपता से संपन्न कराने वाला उत्तमोत्तम उस प्रकार का परम उपदेश पाकर उनका पुत्र जीवन मुक्त हो गया। O Ram, hearing this story of Kacha from hearing all the tricks and secrets how to realize this self from his father, Kach became, he realized this self and he was free from all these ignorance. He was established in the truth. He followed the instructions of his father. He realized the truth. हे श्री राम जी, जिस प्रकार बृहस्पति का पुत्र कच्छ समता ममता रहित अहंकार शून्य मोहरूपी गांठ से निर्मुक्त और शांत बुद्धि होकर स्थित रहा, उसी प्रकार आप भी निर्विकार होकर स्थित हो जाइए। ओ राम, just as Kacha, the son of Brihaspati, became firmly established in the self by hearing the instructions of the father Brihaspati. He realized the truth. He was established in the self and was awakened. So also, O Ram, give up all these names and forms which are limiting agents and subject to transformation and changes and all these impurities. Give up all these and be established in the self. भद्र, इस अहंकार को आप असत जानिए। My dear, know it for granted that this ego is ignorance only. इसका ना तो आश्रय कीजिए. Don't be supported by this ego. Don't depend upon this. Don't rely upon this. और न त्याग ही कीजिए, न give it up, because it is, how can you renounce which is not there? This understanding is enough, that itself is called the all renunciation. When the light dawns, the darkness is renounced. It gets away by itself. This is not renunciation. When you understand this, it automatically takes place. When you lead the lamp, the darkness vanishes by itself. You never have to do any effort to drive out the darkness. This is how all the scriptures say. There is no need of any self-effort for self-realization. There is no need of any self-effort for self-realization. It is not the outcome or the result of your self-effort. No. Because you have to do nothing. You have to do nothing. You have to see the reality. the unreality vanishes. Just as you lit the lamp, the darkness vanishes by itself. So there is no self-effort to drive out the darkness. Only thing, it is not self-effort also to lead the lamp, because the lamp is continuous, akhand deep. That's why we keep the continuous lamp, akhand. We don't allow it to be extinguished. We always look at it, let it be continuously be there, so that there should not be any darkness. And this festival which we are going to face and celebrate, festival of light and sound, these are the cause of the creation, sound and light. Light means forms. Without light you cannot see the forms, limiting forms. And sound means you hear these words and all these network of words which holds the meaning and use of these forms and names. So when you understand this, you lit the lamp, that is the festival, and you hear the unheard sound. That is how they play crackers, fireworks. You have to investigate what is sound. Today morning we were discussing on the unheard sound. The audible sound is not only the sound, it develops after 4 phases. Before that, it is so subtle, and all the 3 unaudible sound, it rings round the cave of the heart, means slowly it develops and it goes out of the heart, then it becomes audible and perceivable by the ear. Or else it is there, but grossly it is not perceived by the ear. And the seers of the subtle existence, the yogis, they communicate with anything and everything with this very subtle sound, which is the language of the heart. Language of the heart. Heart to heart you can speak, but if you know the language of the heart, that is how the yogis talk to the birds and animals and insects and the trees and to the stone or to the river or to the mountain. They communicate with all these forms and names with that subtle sound, the language of the heart, the voice of the heart. So, light and the sound, that is form and the name. इस अहंकार को आप असत जानिए. This ego comes in between. Take it for granted as unreliable untruth, misunderstanding or ignorance, इसका ना तो आचरण कीजिए, don't rely upon it, don't depend upon it, और न त्याग ही कीजिए, nor you renounce it. There is no question of renouncing which is not with you, which is not seen, not an object at all. Can you renounce the unseen, unknown object? How can you? And nor you can renounce the sky, which is ever present everywhere in all conditions, because it is purest holder of all the impure objects. You cannot give up this sky. How can you? It is ever present everywhere at all conditions. You are within it, you cannot renounce it. Neither truth can be renounced, nor untruth can be renounced. This renunciation word is meaningless in the end. When you understand what is renunciation, it becomes meaningless. This is what told by our great Guru Shankaracharya ji. Go on reflecting or contemplating over this meaningfulness and meaninglessness. There is neither any meaning nor meaninglessness. There is no value, nor valuing object, nor any object which has got a value. All these words, not only value, not only the meaning, not only the use, all these words, they are the expansion of the inner vibrations, which is called sound. It is the modification, transformation, or multiplication or expansion of the self, which is without sound, which is without any vibrations or without any motion. These motions, these vibratory waves are just seen within it, just as the waves are not other than the water. Similarly, these names and forms are not other than the reality which is ever silent and ever in a balanced state. All these imbalanced state, all these sound waves are only misunderstanding of the absolute existing silent and undisturbed truth. And to understand this, we bring that always we bring that Ratha Parampara, or the speed of the car. There is no speed, but we comparatively, foolishly, we assume some motion in it, which is not there. यत्न से जब तक उसका परित्याग निवारण नहीं किया जाएगा, तब तक कैसे जन्म मरण का भय निकलेगा। इस पर कहते हैं, जब अहंकार ही असंभव है, तब आपके जन्म मरण ही कैसे है। ऐसा कौन है जो आकाश में पेड़ लगाकर फल बटोरता है अहंकार रूपी खेत के रहने पर ही काम आदि वासनाएं अंकुरित हो सकती है, परंतु उसका बाध हो जाने पर वे कुछ नहीं कर सकती है, यह भाव है। He again explains further, Vasistha ji to Ram, my dear, this ego is impossible to be accepted. If there is no ego, which is the name of changing or name of the falsehood, which is not there, then how can there be any birth and death? Who is there who can collect the fruits from the tree planted in the sky? Who is there to collect all those sweet fruits from the sky and from the tree planted in the sky? Is it possible? आकाश में पेड़ लगाकर फल बटोरने वाला कौन है? अहंकार रूपी खेत में खेत रहने पर ही कामनादि वासनाएं अंकुरित हो सकती है। If the field named ego is available, then only all the desires which are the germination out of some seeds in the field of ego is possible. If the field is not available, how can there be any seedlings or any plants or crop? अहंकार का बाध हो जाने पर अवश्य हुआ मैं किस प्रकार का हूँ? So the question again arises. When there is no ego, then who am I? Yes, then who am I? It is very difficult to delete this I, just as the habit, H-A-B-I-T. If you remove the H, a bit remains. Habit is not removable. If you remove the H, a bit remains. If you remove the A, bit remains. If you remove the B, it remains. How can you remember? How can you delete habit? It is impossible. Habit. When the H is deleted, A bit remains. When A is rubbed out, bit remains. If the B is rubbed out, it remains. It remains. Similarly, if this ego is gone, where is I? What am I? What is this I then? So this we shall see tomorrow. Thank you. For this we shall have a short story. Let us see the story of the false Mithya Purush. Mithya Purush, the false body. The story of the Chaya Purush, false body, the shadow body. We see some shadow And we think there is somebody studying there. The shadow identity, shadow body, the story of shadow body. We call it a Chaya Purush, the shadow self. With that is this shadow body. Is there any body like shadow? Can you name the reflection? According to the object, reflection will be named. The reflections have no name, no form of its own. Reflection.
The name is reflection.
A reflection. It is the shadow of the object. So it has got no identity, no name, no form. They are dependent. If at all some name and form is imagined, that is dependent upon the real object. It cannot be independent of itself. So this is how the shadow body, that story we shall see, Vasistha will tell, just like the ghost. So tomorrow we shall see. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasisthate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai, Satchidananda Bhagavan ki jai, Sabda Brahma ki jai, Saraswati Maharani ki jai, Yoga Vasistha Bhagavan